Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Positive Change Podcast. I'm Cameron.
And I'm Camille.
Today, we're going to be talking about self-awareness and self-confidence.
Let's get positive.
So we took a 2-week break, and it was nice. Helped us kind of put together some of the ideas and really plan out the rest of this season.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a lot going on in the last 2 weeks, and it was probably the best time to be able to do it just because we had a lot of things we had to take care of, both financially, mentally, everything. And so it's been pretty draining the last 2 weeks. We've just been pretty tired and trying to play catch up basically the last 2 weeks.
With everything.
Yeah, but so we chose a good time to do this break, but we also have been able to do a little bit more research, do a little bit more just kind of thinking on the topics that we have planned, and so it's been good, and we're excited to share with you guys all the stories that we have. Now, today we're a little tired, so you'll have to bear with us, but we're excited and ready to share what we got for you. So, with how we've always started this, we got a quote for you. You want to share that quote?
Sure. Self-confidence is a superpower. Once you start to believe in yourself, magic starts happening.
It's a pretty cool quote. I do think self-confidence is a superpower, but I also think it's something that we have to work on and develop, because it's not something that we're just, it's not something that we're just born with, but it can be something that is taught from a young age. Because if you have someone who doesn't really, go out, do these things, and just kind of like when you're growing up, so like basically from, I'd say probably age 10 to basically your teenage years, if you decide to just kind of stay in and not go out, meet people, talk, have fun, make a lot of friends and stuff, it's going to be a little bit harder to have self-confidence just because you don't put yourself in those situations. It's also can be difficult for people who were in your situation where you had to go out and make all these new friends, and you had to do that multiple times, going through and having the army move you around and everything, and it was a little bit different every time. But I think self-confidence is a key role to personal success. I think it can be the make it or break it thing, because without self-confidence, you're not going to be able to develop yourself by surrounding yourself with like-minded people, or by putting yourself in that situation to be able to grow that network. But self-confidence is important to me. What about you?
Self-confidence, I think it is a superpower. Because not everybody has it. No matter, no matter how much you can teach a child how to be confident, some people just naturally have it. Just even untrained.
I would agree with that on certain levels, but I don't think that allowing someone, or not allowing, I don't think that a person who may naturally have it is just automatically just going to have it, like practice it. They still have to be shown the way to exhibit that. Because we may have that kind of in our subconscious, we may have that idea of, oh, I'm this confident person who is outgoing and an overachiever, those types of things. But if you're never given those opportunities to be able to exhibit those, then self-confidence starts to go down. That's me. Like, I was a very self-confident person in high school. I was outgoing. I tried to make as many friends as I could. I tried to make a large network so that I could have people, like-minded people who were teaching me, mentors. And then I just kind of stopped doing that stuff. And now my self-confidence, I wouldn't say it's down, but it's lacking because I don't have the opportunities that I once did to be able to exhibit that or express that. And so my self-confidence has kind of become a little bit of a back burner type of thing, which we've talked about before, is putting the things that we, like, whether it's feelings, expressions, things that we have ourselves, putting them on the back burner because of other things that we've had to focus on. I think that self-confidence is something that you can always work on. And it's something that takes training, especially if you've had it before, but you're having to relearn it in a new way now. Because for me, I learned it when I was back in high school. High school does not work the same as real life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that self-confidence is key to personal success. And if you don't put yourself in situations to exhibit or to express that self-confidence and to practice it, such as going to, meetings where you can network with other people and I wouldn't say brag about yourself, but really just tell why you yourself are important or how you can bring meaning into that other person's life, what you can do for the other person. Yeah. That's what I got for self-confidence. How about self-awareness?
Well, self-awareness. I had to look up a definition just because I needed something to base it off of, because they're very different things. And self-awareness is the ability to perceive and understand the things that make you who you are as an individual, instead of having the confidence to show that. So there are 4 types of aspects of self-awareness. One is like knowing your triggers and your reactions to them, like how you're going to react, so that when you do get triggered, you know how to, I wouldn't say stop how you're going to react, because you know how you're going to react, but be able to, in your mind, if it's going to be a negative reaction, how to make it so that it doesn't affect you that way. If that makes sense.
So basically you're saying you are able to identify it before it happens, so that you know how to then
go about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Another one is how you're landing with others. So, in a sense, how you're perceived by others.
That makes sense.
Landing, perceived.
So, along with that, before we get to the third one, I think another important aspect to self-awareness is yourself, but also being self-aware of other people and how they feel about themselves, not how they feel about you, but how they feel about them. Because when you're so focused on how someone else sees you, you forget to look at how that other person sees themselves. Maybe you have someone who's struggling with self-confidence, and you may be practicing self-confidence and you've been pretty successful with it, but maybe that person needs some help, and maybe you can give them some tips. Maybe you can be like, hey, I noticed that you've been trying to work on this. Here's some tips that helped me because I also struggled with it. So it can also be important to look out for other people and see, if someone comes to you and asks you for some help in this and you have some experience in it, never hurts to share your own experiences.
See, and I would not label that as self-awareness.
I think it's not exactly self-awareness, but I think it's an important aspect of being self-aware, because you still have to be aware of other people's situations to know how you are.
Yeah. In a way.
I know it's a little confusing, and maybe I'm just tired, so I'm explaining it back, but.
So the third one is how your routine behavior impacts your future opportunities. So being more aware of how your reactions are in turn going to hurt your future opportunities or open the doors to future opportunities. So if you're being so focused on one negative thing that it in turn it will not will but it it can affect if you want to go into a certain career, or things that I like to think of it as the sense of, you posted something on social media and you go in for a job interview, and it's a job interview that they look at everything. I mean, every job does. And they see something that just doesn't align with what they want to be perceived as with an employee, that could hurt, your prospects. So I think it's more of like being aware of how you word things and how you say things. Like there's a wrong way to word things and there's a right way to word things, in a sense of there's a way to say it rudely and there's a way to say it in a nicer way.
I think along with routine behaviors, it's more your routine actions as well, because success is created by small steps. And in anything, you don't just wake up one day and you're a master at tennis or a master at basketball. It takes small steps of training every single day, practicing certain, tricks, or practicing certain shots, things like that, so that you develop the skill that then creates the success. You can talk to any athlete, any entrepreneur, anybody. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And your behavior needs to mimic the actions that you are taking. So if your action is getting up at 6 a.m. every morning, going and working out at 6:30, having a good breakfast, your behavior is going to mimic that, in the sense that you're probably going to be a little bit more positive that day because you started out the day better.
Yeah.
If you choose to, sleep in absolutely every single day and you're not taking care of your mental health, you're not taking care of your physical health, and your behavior is going to act or also suffer from that. And just as your physical body suffers, your mental body and your spiritual body all suffer.
Yeah.
So making sure that you're taking your care of yourself and creating these both behavioral routines and just basic routines of life, that's what can create not only success, but it can create a positive change in your life by just changing your behaviors. So I think that's important. And then the fourth
one is who you are, and who you want to become.
Which I think I just kind of touched on that, but
I would say like make a list, or you make a list, and someone that is an important figure in your life that you're very close with makes a list of attributes, or I would say attributes that you have currently, and then you write a list of what attributes you would like to have in the future with whatever opportunity, or it could be, career-wise, school-wise. I currently, do this, but I want to learn more about this certain thing in the future. I want to be more knowledgeable, that kind of thing.
Well, I think that just self-education is important, because when you're currently devoting all your time to one certain like aspect that you've been interested in, like for me right now, I'm super fixated on cybersecurity, and it interests me a ton. I've been looking into a ton of different pathways of how I could get into it quickly, and start gaining more experience in it. But I'm still staying open to other opportunities, because I know that just because that is a great opportunity doesn't mean that there's not other great opportunities. And I'm always open to it, because it's important to be open to multiple, sources of education, because knowledge is power, and with more knowledge comes not only a better life, but it can create the pathway to a better life.
Yeah.
So I think that self-awareness brings a lot of different aspects into your life that can create a positive change to affect not only you, but the others around you. Because if you are aware of where you are and who you are and what you want with your life, it's going to rub off on other people. It's going to help others. It's going to let you, or allow you, to help others with the same types of things. So yeah, I think we got a couple other things on just basic self-confidence and tips and tricks.
So self-awareness and self-confidence go hand in hand, from what I realized doing research. Self-confidence it's important because for you to have the knowledge and accept who you are, it's one thing, like, to say that to yourself, but it's another thing to be self-confidence in the sense of, you know who you are, so whatever everybody else says just doesn't matter about you. And I think when I say that, I mean more in the sense of people that don't know you and say things, doesn't really matter. They don't know you. They don't care about what you're doing. Whereas like the people that you're surrounded by, if they see something that they're like, hey, that's not cool. Like,
I saw a quote the other day.
That.
The quote said, if somebody doesn't know you personally, don't take what they say personally. Because if they don't know the things that you're going through, they don't know the situations that you're in, which is a ton of people. I mean, there's a ton of people in my life that don't know what I'm personally going through, but I've still taken the things that they say personally. But how could they know? And while it may hurt and it may be like, wow, that stings, they don't know what you're going through, and you can't really blame it on them. Now, if they're doing it to intentionally hurt you, obviously, then that's a different story. But if something was said and it wasn't really directed towards you or something like that, don't take it personally. Like, it's not an attack towards you. Something was just said.
Yeah.
But that's where I think self-confidence comes in as well, because if you're confident enough to know that, you know, my hard times are my hard times and I'm going to get through them, and I'm confident in that, then, you know, come what may, the people who say those things are just something that is going to be in the past, and you can move forward.
I just say like that when it comes to self-confidence, it doesn't mean having an ego. When it comes to people that are around you that love you and care about you and you've surrounded yourself with, they're gonna be there to be the ones that are be like, no.
Yeah.
And it's not to be rude and it's not to be mean. It's to help you realize and be self-aware of yourself and be self-confident in yourself, to know that, yeah, this is that one thing that was not good, or that thing, yeah, no. It's one thing for family members and friends and stuff like that to say things like that because they're saying it in a sense of love. Now, if they're not, and they're just doing it to hurt, then that can sting.
Yeah, it's something that needs to be figured out there.
But we live in a day and age where internet is a big thing, and people are going to say things through a keyboard, through a screen. They don't know you. They don't know you.
Well, and I think that, like you said, we're not talking about ego and all that type of stuff, but there's a very big difference between being self-confident and being boastful and being arrogant and ignorant. Because if you are practicing self-confidence in the sense of you're going around and telling everybody how confident you are, or saying, oh, I can do that, I did that, oh, I've already done that, like I don't need to care about that stuff. It's like, that's not the point that we're trying to make. We're trying to make the point of develop the self-confidence so that you are confident enough to share your story, the things that you've gone through, the things that helped you grow, so that others can learn from your experiences. There's a difference between leadership and just telling people the things that you've accomplished. Leaders will show you how they accomplished the things that they did, whereas someone who just wants to be the egotistical person who brags about themselves all the time is just going to tell you what they've done and not give you any tips or tricks or help you in any way. It's important to help others. Helping others is what creates the positive change in the world that we need, but it also creates the positive change that you need in yourself. So focusing on others, that's, I think, the main goal of self-confidence and self-awareness, is being able to help yourself focus on where you are and develop self-confidence in yourself so that you can help others develop that in themselves as well. But what else we got?
Ways to do things.
Yeah, ways to develop them.
Yeah, ways to do self-awareness could be journaling, could be meditating, could be
self-reflection, just
getting regular feedback from those that you've surrounded yourself with, your support group.
I think also just personal feedback and saying, like, when you notice you do something and maybe it didn't work out, you're like, that probably wasn't the best thing for me. I'm not going to do that again. Or that really works. That was really great. I'm going to do that again because that helped me.
The other one was question yourself regularly.
Yeah. So personal assessment,
Yeah.
personal feedback.
Personally, meditating is great. And I struggle with having my diagnosis of ADHD, and quiet is not something I like to do. And so I've started getting into the habit of listening to all these psychologists and behavioral, like child behavioral specialists and things like that, just to, I find the brain interesting. I find it interesting with all the mental things that we now know of. And one of the things that one of these therapists had said was, we live in a day and age where people who have a disability of some sort, especially one like ADHD, we're constantly being overstimulated, and we don't want to be left in the quiet. So meditating could just be literally sitting in absolute silence, even though it's hard to do it.
Well, but I think meditation is personal. It's something that you need to figure out what works for you. So, like, for me, I can't be listening to music because then it distracts me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really have anything around, otherwise it distracts me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I have like white noise or something in the background, typically that's okay as long as it's the same white noise and it's not different. Changing into different things. So, like, I can't do waves.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do rain because there's going to be different pitches. If it's just pure static, I do fine because it's the same static all the way through. But it has to be the same for me. But truly for me, it's just silence, which is really hard to come by with kids. Like, it's very difficult. And I'm not, like, I personally don't meditate a ton, and it's not something that I have found really helps me. Mine is more personal assessment. It's more what worked for me, what can I do to better what worked for me, or what can I do to continue the things that have worked. So that's just me personally.
I was just trying to, so for people that do struggle with some sort of issue of overstimulation or whatever, it's just more of, the therapist was like, we have to learn how to sit in our thoughts. Because I have a hard time sitting with my thoughts because my brain just
takes you 50 million ways.
Yes. And some voices can be louder than others, and sometimes it can be a little overwhelming, and you just want to shut them off. And the only way to do that is to drown them out. And so for me, meditation is more in the sense of learning how to quiet and narrow in.
So it's more finding your focus and what works.
And sometimes it's guided meditations for me.
Yeah. I mean, there's tons of them on like YouTube and podcasts. There's tons of them that you can just literally go on and listen to them for free. There's guided meditations everywhere, and they work. They work really well. I mean, whether it's something that is slowing your heart rate down because you are having an anxiety attack, or whether it's something that you just need to think and you need to clear your mind. There's things that will help you out. So,
ways to help with self-confidence is finding something that you are great at and keep doing it.
I think with that, it's keep doing it, but look for ways to improve it.
Yeah.
Because if you keep doing something expecting a result, but you never actually receive that result, that's the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
So if you are doing something and you're great at it, but you're not getting the result that should be coming with it, you still need to figure out what is not being done in that process and better it. Now, if you're doing something great and you're getting the result that it needs, keep doing it.
Yeah. Challenge yourself. Start saying no to people. I think our generation has a really hard time at saying no to people.
I think
In the sense of I know that this may sound insane, but we have to be better about not burning ourselves out. I think that's like the one thing that our generation's pretty bad about. We burn ourselves out to the point of we don't know where to say no to people.
Yes and no. I think that it's a split. I think there's some that know how to say no, they just don't say no.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some that just don't know when to say no.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the ones that say no.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to set a boundary and not cross that boundary,
Mm-hmm.
because there's certain things that we can take. Like there's certain things that we can do. But yeah, there's certain circumstances that happen where we need to say no. And it's okay to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is not okay is to adopt the mindset that no is the answer. Because if you get so used to saying no that becomes the only thing that you do,
Mm-hmm.
then it creates a problem.
Yeah.
You still have to be in control of that.
Yeah.
While it's okay to say it, you need to be in control of it.
When I was researching about like, you know, ways to be more self-confident, like the reason they say to start saying no is people that don't have self-confidence don't say no.
Mm.
They have found that is the biggest thing with people that don't have the self-confidence is they don't want to say no to people because they're trying to people please.
Well, and they'll get taken advantage of.
Exactly.
Like with anything that they have. So like any sort of skill that you have or anything like that, if you don't have self-confidence, people will try to take advantage of you for it because they know you have that skill. They know that you can do that. They're going to try and take advantage of you for it. And yeah, I think that's important to be able to build that self-confidence for that exact reason.
And it's I've realized it a lot in certain aspects of life, especially with the work environment. With you previously working and anything else, you know, it's always the people that go, well, that's just the way work life is. Well, it really shouldn't be that way. It really should be, I'm not going to do that because that's not what I was hired
So
for.
when it comes to work life, yes and no. Because if you're happy with the position that you're in
Mm-hmm.
and you're not looking for advancement or anything like that, yeah, I mean, that's okay. But if you're looking for promotion, if you're looking for pay raise and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you need to do above and beyond. You don't just do your daily tasks.
Yeah.
If you're looking to take a position that's doing something, learn how to do that. That's the best way you're going to be able to get that promotion, is by learning to do something that needs to be done. Now, if something makes you uncomfortable, if you don't feel like you can do that, saying no, but I am willing to learn if someone's willing to teach me, that's where the difference comes in. You say no, but I'm willing to learn. I think, I mean, we've talked about it before, but the word but is a very powerful word when it comes to those types of situations, because that's what can create the opportunities for you. And so work environment, but also personally, learning to say no to things that you don't feel comfortable with,
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to know your confidence level. You're going to know your comfort zone. There's certain things you say no to, and there's certain things that you say, no, but I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to be taught.
I think my biggest thing is just like, I feel like sometimes the butt can be taken advantage of. It can be.
Yes, but that's where your self-confidence comes in, because you have to be able to notice when that happens, and you have to say no, because that's where you say, I'm being taken advantage of in this situation.
Yeah.
This is how I would feel comfortable if it would proceed this way.
And then the other one is make positive relationships. So we've talked about how in past podcasts how positive relationships can in turn help with certain things, but when you have negative ones, it makes it really hard to stay positive.
Well, relationships are what bring us a lot of different emotions. I mean, relationships are kind of what guide our lives, because I'm a big fan of networking, of meeting new people and developing relationships that will be beneficial to both parties. If I go into a business relationship with the assumption that we're both going to work, but I never actually learn about the person, I never learn about their work ethic, I never learn about their background, and that person turns out to be a total dud, and I just finished running that business, yeah, I'm going to get burned out. I'm going to not like that person, and that relationship is not going to be good.
No.
But if I do my due diligence, I go in to this optimistic, I go in and I learn about this person, I learn everything that I can to make sure that this business is going to be successful, or this relationship is going to be successful, and I'm able to talk and get to know them based on the qualities that I'm looking for in whatever situation I'm in, and they tick those boxes, and they truly actually take it, not they're just putting on a mask or something like that so that they can get through, but they actually mean it, and that's what can be a building of an actual relationship, because networking is to me an important part of our journeys, because we can network with the right people that can put us in the opportunities or create the opportunities to completely change our lives. So building those relationships, networking, building your self-confidence, your self-awareness, they all come hand in hand with creating the change that you need in your personal life to be able to share with the rest of the world. So work on the things that we've said here, just the tips that we've given you. Look for your own tips as well. I think it's important to do your own research and look for things that work for you, because the things that we've said may not work for you, but there's still a ton more out there. There's still tons of things. We found a couple things that work for us, and that's what we're sharing with you. So look for the ways that you can build your own self-confidence, your own self-awareness, and look to become better. Look to be the person that you want to be, and move forward with that. But I think another important aspect to building self-confidence, which we touched on a little bit, is the routines, the habits that you make. Building up healthy habits and setting goals and everything is what can propel you into the person that you want to be. Setting the goals that are realistic in a sense, but also push you. Because I think that the worst thing that someone can be told is to dream realistically. Because when you dream in a mediocre realistic sense, you're saying, oh, I want, like if you actually want something that's going to be if you want a job that's going to earn you $150,000, that's where your dream needs to be set. But if you're just saying, oh, I'm going to dream realistically, and the realistic is I'm going to make $75,000 a year. That's still a good amount of money. I'm not saying that's a bad amount of money. But if your goal truly is to be $150,000, that's an easily realistic goal.
Yeah.
You just have to work for it, and you have to push yourself by developing your habits, setting your goals. And we're going to save that for next podcast, where we talk about setting goals and building healthy habits.
And hopefully we won't be so exhausted.
Yeah, hopefully we will be a little bit more awake. Like I said, we just had kind of a little bit rough the last 2 weeks and just been trying to play catch up, but we're hopefully finally out of the end, and we're able to focus on this and have some more good times, good conversations, and
get better.
Yeah, hopefully we're able to enlighten you guys, bring some sort of joy into your lives or education or anything that you're needing. If you guys are needing anything in specific, or you have any topics that you want us to talk about, make sure that you leave a comment in this video or on any of our social media platforms, Instagram and TikTok. We are happy to answer you and can't wait to hear from you guys. So make sure you reach out if you need any help, and we're here for you, and we love you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.